Hey, listeners, thanks for tuning into the podcast. I just want to take a moment to mention the podcast sponsor, retrogamestore.com.au. Head over there for all your Game Boy refurbish and repair needs. Screens, shells, buttons, and all the bits and pieces. And there's a complete custom build made to order service as well. Also, plenty more retro gaming goodness like video cables, display stand and power supplies, controls, etc. And you can add the code PixelPie at checkout to get 10% off your order. Also, take a moment to say if you enjoyed this episode and haven't already, give it a subscribe or follow and a review where you can. And maybe you want to recommend the Pixel Pie podcast to anyone you know that would enjoy it. That'd be really appreciated. So thanks for listening, and now let's get on with the show.
Hi, my name is Daniel, and I'm Danielblomdesign, and you're listening to Pixel Pie podcast.
G'day, Daniel. How you doing, matey?
I'm doing good. And you, Scott?
I'm very, very, very good. Thank you. I really appreciate you coming to spend this time with me and the listeners, and we can sort of get to know you a bit. I'm really excited. I won't lie. You have a GBA build that, as I've discussed with you both prior to this recording and via Instagram Messenger, a GBA build that I love, and we're going to get there. But there's a little bit more before that. So just tell us a little bit about yourself. Like for you, you're in Stockholm, is that right?
Yeah, Stockholm, Sweden.
Yeah, and it's around about sort of 9 a.m.-ish there, 5 p.m. for me, both for Saturday. I appreciate you've had a couple of Red Bulls and you're sort of up and good to go. So maybe if you're happy, just share a little bit about yourself and what sort of leads you into, I guess, retro gaming. Did you grow up a gamer? Do you work in games, or are you the opposite to everything and kind of just, I don't work in games and I didn't grow up in gaming and now I'm just making up for it? What's your sort of story?
I've had gaming since I was a kid. As I'm 41, I started with the Nintendo and Commodore C64.
Right.
And somehow worked up till now. But retro gaming is it come back to me in late years.
Yeah,
I've been a lot into Xbox and more grown-up games, if we call it like that.
Yeah, sure.
But went back to the good old 2D platform gaming.
Yeah, cool. And I guess when you become an adult, and I think you and I discussed, we're both parents, and once you sort of get to a certain point where the income allows for you, both the income financially and time-wise, to kind of enjoy a hobby, then you really get to kind of explore it the way you really want to. As opposed when you're a child, you kind of get fettered a bit and you get what you can. Whereas now, as adults, we get what we want.
Yeah, that's better. That's better. You can spend the money if you can hide it from the wife.
That's correct. That's correct. You got to have either a black budget or, like me, a very wonderful wife that gives me a bunch of space. But she can run and buy running shoes as much as she wants. I would never question that. That's fine.
No, then you get an extra Game Boy.
Correct. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
More. So let's talk about then I guess your sort of history now. I kind of did a bit of Instagram stalking and on you, and I kind of looked back over where you've been going. Now, your first Instagram Game Boy related post was January 2017. So that's a while ago. It's been
a while, yeah.
Yeah, and that was it was basically, here's my parts for a Game Boy Zero build, which is still not quite Game Boy, but so close. But in the same month, you picked a GBA SP up, the silver with the tribal thing, for $2.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
It was a flea market find.
Yeah, and that's your first.
I think that started the whole thing.
It looks to it, because from then on, it's just like, I think like 2 posts later, there's a box full of Game Boys that you must have got
Yeah.
from Japan or something. And it's like from then on, it's just you're a prolific builder, and there's all sorts of styles and varieties of builds. There's a lot of clean builds, a lot of see-through builds, you do a lot of your own work. You do a lot of work with other people's shells. I think getting back to more just general retro gaming, that some of your earlier posts are there's a box, a haul you've got which has got a SNES, a NES, and a couple of Wii's. There's a Zelda game and watch in there that looks to be in pretty good condition. And then we were talking before about some of your earlier mods are the backlight and Bivert DMGs, and I think that says something. Like you said, I don't do them now, but it does say something about how long you've sort of been into this. Do you want to sort of take us through? Do you miss that sort of stuff, or are you happy to get on with the LCD?
I can miss it sometimes, but it was a frustrating time as the builds and the quality of the old parts was so bad. So many times it went wrong.
Right.
It took time to do a original LED backlighted DMG.
Yeah. When you say the parts, do you mean like shells and things, or what were the parts that used to make it more of a challenge?
I think for me, it's always been, and still today, is my fixation of not getting any dust anywhere.
Yeah.
It kind of kills me. Sometimes I just need to leave the project and go away for a while.
I understand that. I have a black DMG that I did the backlit Bivert on myself, and I must have opened it around 12 times to get a bit of dust out. And throughout the process, got the Newton rings and to deal with the talcum powder. And I didn't know what that was until I read Greg Farrell's book. And I was just like I actually had an email done up to Funny Playing going, there's something wrong with this backlight. And then, oh, no, it's just I'm a chump. So I appreciate that. Yeah. And so you sort of moved on to the LCD stuff, and maybe sort of take us through that path. Like, were you just doing it for fun or laughs at the beginning, or because you've done so many, there's no way you still have them all? And you do state in your Instagram that you do commissions.
I need to sell them off sometimes. I get like 10 or 20 laying around, and I sell them off yet to get room for more projects. For me, it's mostly the creation process that's the best part. I don't have so much time playing, but I love the creation of doing it and starting from nothing and getting a complete Game Boy and trying to realize the vision I have in my head.
Do you do any kind of use any software or Photoshop to kind of throw colors around, or you just sort of buy a bunch of stuff and just
no, I've never done that. I've painted a lot in my life, and usually the creation process starts with an idea. Me and some music in the headphones, and then I'll see where I land. Many times we're way off from the starting idea.
Yeah. What music would you probably put on generally when you kind of get to that point?
Oh, if you listen to my playlist, you get shocked. It's from everything from old 80s music, hard rock. I listen to a lot of like soundtrack music, instrumental. So it's very varied.
Be interesting to know how that affects the outcome. Like if you're listening to some sort of like a John Williamson score compared to, I don't know, some sort of Nordic death metal, the two results are going to be slightly different, maybe.
Yeah, you can choose the music depending on what the project you're doing. Sure.
Yeah, like maybe some Nordic death metal when you're trying to do like a nice, cute Mario shell might not. There might be a clash there.
Mostly not. No.
I noticed one of your earlier posts. There seems to be a lot of stuff to do with motorcycles. There's a few fuel tanks. There's a helmet which is it's somehow decorated to look like Boba Fett as best you can on that shaped helmet. It's obviously pre-Mando. Is that something you did?
No, I haven't done it. It's an AHC original helmet. It's the
Right.
only helmet I haven't painted, actually.
Oh, right. So you have painted a lot of your own helmets.
Yeah, I have two Star Wars helmets and one with a skull and flames.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
my
with that,
whole bike it's Star Wars themed.
right. I was going to ask because there is a pretty rad sort of Vader style DMG that you've got in there too. Um, so there'll be a lot of airbrush work.
I do a lot of airbrush work. Yeah,
Is it?
it started. I was 18, I think. I saw a video of a man doing airbrush work, and
Right.
coincidentally, I found an airbrush same day, so I
Oh,
bought it and
yeah.
thought, yeah, this is for me. I like painting. Went home, started on a paper. It was super boring, so
Mm.
went in the wardrobe, took my electric guitar, took it apart, and sprayed paint my first thing at electric guitar.
Oh, that's pretty cool. They're fun, and I've done a little bit of airbrushing because I've been into the bit of model making with the Gunpla, and when you because there's oh, I don't think people quite realize it's not like a can of paint. There's a little tuning to be done. There's the quality or the a certain viscosity or type of paint, whether it be a an acrylic or not, and then there's the different paints you use for different. But when you get that just perfect coat and you can apply it and you get your little finger pushing down and you're applying it and fading, it really is quite fun, isn't it, when you get it?
Yeah, but it's the way when to get it. It's
Yeah,
years of
yeah,
practice and trying.
yeah. And
But
everyone,
when it works, it's a super tool. You can get nice effects, fadings,
mm,
colors from anywhere,
yeah,
and you
yeah.
can use a lot of mediums too.
Yeah, yeah. And the problem with some communities, like I said, with the gunpla is there's lots of people that will all there's 90% of people will tell you you're doing it wrong. And that's unfortunate. But in reality, if you're still doing it and you're enjoying it and you're getting a good result, you're probably doing it mostly right. And it's just a matter of kind of just finding your particular technique. It's
I
definitely
think
worth.
if you're painting whatever you're using, if you're using a brush, airbrush, pens, markers,
Mm,
do what you like. It's often then the result gets the best,
yeah,
and it's somehow you that should feel fun doing it and like the results. If that is with a brush, then it's with a brush.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was listening to something the other day, and I hope I don't fudge this up, but I heard a saying David Bowie, I'm sure you're aware who he is, once
Yeah,
said, talking about music is like describing architecture by dancing. And
yeah, yeah.
often
It's
art is a bit like that. It's a bit like I remember having a chef once, and I used to work in hospitality. He's like, or this is when I first met him, and he goes, imagine I've never seen an orange. Describe an orange to me. And I'm like, it's round. He's like, good. I'm like, it's the color orange. He goes, no, I've never seen one. So you need to try other ways. This is how I'm going to teach you. You're an idiot. Prepare to be treated like an idiot, like you don't know what orange is. That's a little side thing. But sometimes it's that basic that you just need to get down to the simple doing of it. And all of a sudden it just comes together. Um, Speaking of that, you also use some markers. I think you just said recently you've got onto Molotow markers. I've used the silver one. It's the most
yeah.
shiniest silver. I would use it like on my gunpla for like, a knife blade or something. It's incredible. Some people actually airbrush it. You can sort of distill it. What do you call it? You can get it out, not distill it. You can get
Yeah,
it out.
yeah.
Um, the markers for you, like there's some pretty intricate work there. How does that go? How do you get all that sort of such fine detail going?
I cheat a bit. I
Right.
use the markers mostly for the basics. I then use both airbrush and brush. And the markers are great because you can just pump out some extra paint and you can use a standard brush for super detailed work if you want.
Yeah, yeah. I think the ones I marked down here, that a there's one a Kirby shell that I think is yours that actually has the Molotow markers in there. So I'm not sure if you're familiar off the top of your head. Is that's all marker work?
Mostly, I use markers and brush mostly on the shells.
Yeah. I know when I spoke to Kelsey from Yesterday's Tech, like she would use the markers, but at the same time, she's not always just applying from the mark. She'd sort of, like I said, decant a bit out because you can push them, and then you can use toothpicks and brushes and whatever you need to kind of apply it.
And you can mix them. I actually use a plastic lid from an old ice cream box.
Right. Yeah. Like a palette.
And pump out some paint and mix it together and get super different tones and darker shadings. And
so is this something that you did like younger? Because you said I got an airbrush when I was 18. Were you in automotive or some sort of painting industry, or pardon me?
No, I like painting since I was a kid. So I started with crayons and pens like everyone else, I think. And it just continued. So I've done it my whole life.
Okay. And obviously over the last few years, the Game Boys have become a pretty good sort of blank canvas for you to work on.
It's fun in many ways, as it's not only the painting part, it's the building part too. I think the electronic part, learning how to solder. We talked about the first Game Boy you saw me starting modding. I had a huge soldering iron. So it was a war just getting one solder point done correctly.
It's like doing brain surgery with a meat cleaver. You kind of just jamming.
Something like that. Atomic bomb to take something off.
Yeah. What did you end up? That original SP, which looked to be in reasonable good nick, a bit of sort of rubbing around the corners. But what did you end up doing with that?
I think it was a shell swap. I did. It was an AGS 101.
Yeah.
Actually,
the screen actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, it was only the shell that was in bad shape, and you just needed to charge it and get a new battery.
$2, hey? You wouldn't see that anymore. Well, you might.
No, they've gone to the roof.
They sure have, and it's funny how it's all over. I mean, I watch a few guys on YouTube that do kind of like retro game shopping in Japan, and even kind of translate to roughly my Australian currency. It's still about $100 once you watch them pick them up off a shelf. So the entire world is caught on, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
I want to sort of go back to that. There's a picture here where you've just got a whole bunch of awesomeness, a big haul. So there's 2 Wii's, a SNES, a NES, a few other bunch of things, and then sort of tie that back in with your current logo, which is a GBA. Actually, let's go back. It's a Nintendo light gun wired into a GBA. Can you explain that? Because obviously you're not just a GBA modder collector.
I always liked video games since a kid, so I thought when doing the logo, and I got help doing it because doing your own stuff often is the hardest because you get blank in the head. So I had 2 different artists help me with the logo. But the first idea, we talked a lot of my interests, and actually it's paint in the GBA window. So the whole idea was it was a spray gun,
right?
Made of a light gun and the GBA as the paint holder.
Oh,
and
I
then
see.
In the display, you have
it's the paint pot on top of the air gun, airbrush.
Yeah,
I see that.
So
now.
So we connected the retro gaming and my love to GBAs and painting in one logo.
Yeah, that's Emma Fox 555. So I'll pop her name in the show notes there, and that's the kind of the modern redesign of the existing logo. It's very cool.
Yeah.
And now that you see that, I'm like, oh yeah. And you've even kind of got almost like a level of paint kind of sloshing around in the cup or GBA, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice, mate. Nice. You said did you say before you're a dad?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had two kids, a son and a daughter.
Right. Are they old enough to appreciate any part of your hobby yet?
Both are, but they don't have. Old games are more hard than new
Uh,
games.
are your
So
kids Fortniters, or are they not quite that old? Or
no, Minecraft.
oh,
They're
that's
8 and 5, so Minecraft is the
yeah.
thing for them. I don't understand it though.
You, I honestly would have thought it'd be right up your alley. My daughter's 10 this year, and we play a lot of Minecraft. It's the only reason why I
Yeah,
pay for the PS Network because she plays on a Windows 10 laptop and I play on the PS4. And
yeah.
it's like Lego online, but better because the animals walk around and
I see the creativity in it, but I don't see the main point in the game. It's just to create.
that's right. There's a lot of games that they're playing. My daughter plays a bunch of Roblox, and it's effectively this one game is called Adopt Me. And it's effectively a trade, like a trade market for like 7 to 14-year-olds where they get a pet and then they upgrade it and then they swap it for another pet and they get this and they earn cash. And you know that whole thing where a dude started with a doorknob and by the time he swapped it and sold it on eBay, he had enough to buy a
Yeah, it's a
house.
house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's that kind of stuff. And she's like, come and play with me. I'm like, but you're not playing, you're just accumulating and then swapping. And that's but the
but
Minecraft,
it's almost a little like Pokemon.
it is. It
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
collecting and upgrading.
Yeah, yeah. The Minecraft I can get into. We play together. We have a few different worlds. Some of them are the freak out, chase the zombie worlds. We have one world which I've managed to slow it down. It's our farm world. So everything's open. None of the animals. It's a farm, but none of the animals are caged. We have stables, but the horses are free to enter in and out. I spawned like 1,000 parrots, so they're everywhere. And I said no rainbows, no craziness, just a nice farm, log cabins, and we're doing pretty well. But she'll be on it for an hour and a half, and I'll come back and she's like, "Dad, look at this! I built a axolotl farm for the
Yeah,
axolotls to sleep in." I'm like, "What?" And it's just it's beautiful. If they're gonna do this right,
I think it's a great game for imagination for
yeah,
kids,
yeah,
especially.
yeah,
So it gives them a tool to create some of their own. When I was a kid, I got a pen and paper instead.
yeah. When I was a boy, all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we had like logs to play with,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we were out
Stick.
in the forest.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess it's because I'm 48 this year, and I appreciate where you're coming from. And we did that too. But I guess these days they're going to do this. Their world is very digital, and
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
still
but I
rather.
think it's a great game. So I'm not complaining
Yeah,
about the game. I think it's a wonderful game, especially for the creative side.
yeah, yeah. I maybe like yourself, I go to the occasional sporting activity with my daughter or like a gymnastics session, and I'll sit there and I'll see a 9-year-old on his iPad playing Fortnite, and I'm like, I don't understand giving a 9-year-old this kind of like it's killing, it's very destructive, it's very dominating, it's very warrior type, and I'm like, that's probably fine, but I would much rather my daughter play Minecraft. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, 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 every day of the week.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Anyway, enough about the children, more about
Yeah,
you and me. I want to sort of just work down through a few of the builds that I saw that really grabbed my eye. Things that I just love. There's a number of builds here that you're very keen on giving credit to other people and using other people's shells. There's a lot of buttons from Jelly Belly Customs. There's two particular builds in here that caught my eye. The first one is it's a Galaxy GBA, and that's done by Julianne, Gameboy.7777. I mean, gee, half the work's done for you there, right? That's a beautiful shell.
yeah, most of the work is done for me there.
Right.
It was mostly to put it together and maybe choose the buttons.
There's some pretty amazing shells out there, isn't there, that other people are doing?
Yeah, it's a super nice community with different ideas, and even if I don't appreciate every idea,
Yeah,
and would do it myself, I love seeing it
yeah,
because it's an expression of different people. So I
yeah.
think it's fun seeing what people come up with.
It is. It is. Um, and it's always sort of, even in the sort of the shorter time that I've been in, sort of, sort of shove myself into the community to meet people and get to know people, with the podcast. Every sort of month or
Mm.
two, something will come up. Like just recently, Matt's mods. I'm not sure if you've seen his stuff. He does the kind of
Yeah, he paints neon colors and
yeah,
paints it black, and then
yeah,
scuffs up the
yeah, yeah.
corners. Yeah,
And that's just bang, just new. Like
yeah.
really cool stuff. And there's the splatters and the dips and the masking and the internals and all that sort of stuff. One thing that I see you use a bit is like a two-tone from the inside. So I think there's one was like it's like sort of a pink, it's a GBA, and it's like a green on one side if you're looking at the face, and a purple.
Yeah,
So
and a purple. Yeah.
yes, are you using the airbrush to kind of fade those together? How are you doing that?
It's actually done with spray cans.
Right.
It's the fastest way to do the toning and the big coloring.
Yeah, yeah. Cans have come a long way, huh? In the last probably 5 to 6 years.
Yeah, I use them a lot also when doing airbrushing. So I clear coat a lot of stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
It helps, not needed to load a big spray gun to do 2K clear and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. I don't think people appreciate the benefits to a nice 2K or 4K clear, what it does to just sort of finish it off, give it that really nice clean finish and protect it, obviously. Um, there's another one of Julianne's there is the Yoshi Shell, which is just so cute. I think it really highlights her skill with the markers and whatever she's used there.
The Yoshi Shell is actually me doing it
Is
for
it?
her. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
oh,
I painted it for her.
oh. Okay.
She
Well,
asked me for a Yoshi themed shell and said to do it her style, something she would like.
oh,
So
awesome.
it's actually a commission shell from her. Or we don't commission things to each other. We actually trade. It's more
Right.
fun.
It's like pen pals, but with shells.
Yeah, something like that. She
Oh,
sent me a Galaxy shell, and I sent her the Yoshi shell,
well,
and we tried to keep it a secret until
till
it's
it's
landed.
not.
No, until it's not.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, well, my apologies. That's incredibly. And you know what? And she said, "Do something that you think I'd like." And when I saw that, I must have misread the post, but I thought, oh, she did a great job. So you nailed it so much. I thought she did it.
Yeah, thanks.
Well
It's
done.
okay. It's okay, Scott.
Yeah. Um, there's a show here that you've done, and I had to look twice, and it wasn't until I saw it in another image, another photo sitting on the bench. And you've called it the Paper Advanced 2D, and it's all white. It kind of looks like that cell shading, and apart from the fact there's some other buttons sitting around the table, I honestly thought it was a pencil sketch. Like it's pretty
I
great.
I took some pictures of it that it actually looks identical to a paper sketch, but I thought if I posted those pictures, they would probably think it was a paper sketch. So
Yeah.
I needed to have something to relate to it.
No, there's an image in there. It's sitting on a bench. And it reminds me of, I think you were saying you got the inspiration from a cafe or something that you saw.
Yeah, I saw a program on TV, and that was artists had done a whole cafe in black and white like that. So
Right.
it looked like you walked into a 2D drawing, having a coffee. And I
Yeah.
thought the idea was so great. So I thought, why not? And I had a white shell laying around on the table. So
Yeah.
grabbed a black marker and we'll try it.
Yeah. 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 It also reminds me now a little bit of the Aha song "Take on Me" and The video clip is
Yeah,
all.
yeah, that the 80s song. Yeah, the video when it jumps from color to black and white.
Yeah, she's in the cafe and he
Yeah.
reefs her inside the comic book, and
Yeah.
then he leaves her and runs. It's pretty cool of him to do that. I've seen it with some. I refer to Gunpla because it's the closest thing to what you guys do that I can relate to. But I've seen people do that with a Gundam robot, a model, and they'll do very similar to the point where, like when you watch a cartoon or a comic, the way the light kind of reflects off the corner and that the light changes.
Yeah, that's cell shading,
Yeah,
cartoonish style. Yeah,
and you look
I
at it.
follow a guy who does Transformers like that.
It's amazing, isn't it? To make
it.
the 3D look 2D. It's really tricky.
Yeah.
Really, it's an absolute illusion. When I saw that, I was reminiscent of that style of build.
I've tried it in color, but I failed miserably.
Oh, I think it's almost like you have to be Predator to be able to switch to thermal vision or something.
Yeah,
it's special pair of glasses to look at it and sort of go, oh, that's how it should be. Quite a talent.
Yeah,
that one there. You've got shout out there to Nat the Nerd for the logo file for your ROM cart there. She's
I worked with a lot of talented people, and I think the Game Boy community is super fun. I think that's why I've continued working in it too and loving it. It's because it's so many wonderful people. It's not just a bunch, it's hundreds of fantastic people that helps, and
lots
of things together.
Lots of collaboration and lots of sharing and enjoying each other's victories. Another really awesome build. There's a lot of Zelda builds around of various Game Boys and Switches and Joy-Cons and NESs and whatever else, but this one I think stands out from the crowd a little. It's a I'll do my best to describe it. It's kind of like a brownie dark sort of base, and then you've got some sort of I guess kind of like amber type buttons, the D-pad and the AB buttons, and the Zelda sort of icon off to the right. But it almost looks like at some point in the middle of it, if the lens wasn't there, something's exploded and there's all these kind of like drag marks we've sort of brushed out. I would just say go and have a look at it on your Instagram, because it's it almost looks like it's a piece of bronze or something that's kind of, it's been around. I love that weathering. I really do love that sort of stuff. Did you have that? Was that just for you, or did you have someone request?
No, it was also commission actually. But I got free hands. I like commissions with an ID, and you also get creative freedomness, so you can create a bit from your own mind. That's the mostly the builds where you get a few pictures or something like inspiration, and then you can make whatever you want. Often gets the best.
I don't know why I just thought of this, but just recently there was an artist that sold a invisible statue. Did you see that?
No.
$18,000. I don't know what the local currency was, but it is 100% invisible.
I have an invisible Game Boy Advance for you, Scott, but it's only $100.
Okay, thank you. Special edition.
Special for you. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
I can only assume that this person, and you can Google it, just look at invisible statue. I'm hoping it's one of two things. I reckon it's either just straight up money laundering, or it's like maybe kind of taking the piss out of sort of artists and sort of going, really, I can just do this and I can charge because of who I am. There's that kind of that thing that's going on at the moment. Is it NFTs, the kind of the digital ownership of, all sorts of things, like a 12-second clip from a Lakers game, or a certain letter in a certain font. It's like, all right, now I own that. You can't do anything with it, but somewhere you own it. What's that guy that did the art, the one where he pushed it through the printer at the sale, through the shredder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. I hope he's just having a laugh at people and taking their money, because that's ridiculous.
Yeah, but if you look at it in art, many people say, "Oh, this is my idea, or this is mine, or this is I have done this and I've done that." But I see it like every idea almost comes from another idea.
Yes.
So in a way, you're always copying or remaking some other idea you've seen.
Yeah.
So I think you should just in art creativity, I think you should think of it, because even if you think the idea is yours, if you look at it and think through how you got the idea, you've probably seen something or copied some other person, even if you've done it in a different way.
Yeah.
So I think our art it's hard to own art, I think.
Especially if it's invisible.
Yeah, then it's super hard.
Where did I put
but you
that?
can hide it. But you can hide it from anyone. Yeah,
you can.
So no one can copy it.
No one can copy it. Well, no. I could. See right here. Perfect replication.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And like you said, a lot of the good musicians will say growing up, their influences were Led Zeppelin, Def Leppard, Deep Purple, and they will admit straight up that yes, they were looking for their own thing in the end. And all those bands that came out said, "Oh, these were the bands to listen to," but influence was everything. Without those to inspire them, and that's what you see in a lot of the Game Boy sort of modding and art that we're seeing at the moment. Look, there's stuff that looks similar, but it has that person because they were listening to.
Yeah, you add something small that's personal to you.
Yeah,
and maybe you can connect it to you then, but mostly the idea comes from something. So I think as an artist, you should be very open to appreciating other artists and other ideas, because that's the ideas that make you grow.
Yeah, 100%. There's a lot of I mean, you look at your Insta, and there's just a lot of good clean builds in there too. There's just a lot of good DMGs and GBAs and just good old fashioned solid builds. I mean, with those ones, are they sort of, do you have like a store that you just put them up, or is that all commission? Because you've got a lot. Like there's a lot of builds here, a lot.
Yeah, I've done a lot of commissions. I sell some locally.
Right.
So it's to be honest, modding Game Boys is a hugely expensive hobby. So somehow you need to get new tools or to new paint. You need to sell 1 or 2 Game Boys.
Right.
And that's what I've done. So sometimes it's maybe not the most creative doing a all black DMG or GBA with a backlight, but it's fun building them, and you make someone else happy. And in the meantime, you get a few extra dollars to buy a new spray can you've been thinking of trying out a new color or something like that.
Yeah. That's an important point for, I guess, some people. They're just trying to push their own art. Well, push is a bit of a harsh word, but just trying to sell their own stuff. That you do have to kind of just be prepared to sort of mop the floor and wipe down tables just to sort of get that opportunity to sort of do what you really want. I just noticed one in here, a DMG with Amazing Tater. I recently played that game. Have you ever played the game Amazing Tater?
Actually, I hadn't before I was contacted about that DMG, so I needed to play it. I don't think it's the best game, but it was a fun cover. He asked me he wanted the art from the box art on the DMG. I thought it was a fun picture. So
actually, it's the one with like the little sort of turny things and levers and wheels, like a little puzzle game, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like when I was playing it, I couldn't help but feel like I was playing like putt golf sort of thing. You got to push squares. I would highly recommend it, actually, if it's one of those good sitting at the bus stop and you got nothing better to do. play some amazing Tater. So
Yeah,
he
it's
must
a forgotten game.
It is. He must be a fairly unique gentleman to want specifically that art on his DMG. So good for him.
But I thought it was a super fun idea, and it's a great cover.
And how did you do that? Is that all your normal techniques with paint and brushes and?
Yeah, that's actually Molotow One for All markers and a brush.
Yeah, it's quite.
So I printed a few pictures I could have in the background, and then took a gray original DMG shell and started painting on it.
Nice, love it. That's some pretty good stuff. I am a pretty big Metroid fan, and there's a Metroid Gba here that is that your work? The one where it's like I think it started with like a semi see-through orange shell.
Yeah, that's my work. It's all from the head.
That's pretty great, mate. Pretty great indeed. Even to the point where you match the B button kind of like to the color of the visor, helmet.
I was hoping I could. Yeah, it's hard to get exactly the tone when you're painting, but it was okay.
GBAs are tricky, aren't they? I know I spoke with Joseph Tompkins about Beskar, and I've got the Pocket and the DMG, and just sort of waiting on a GBC. And I'm like, what about GBA? And we're kind of, you look at it, and there's not as much sort of real estate to put like the Imperial symbol for the Beskar. And
the GBA it's the best console I like modding at the moment, but it's the worst painting on because you don't have that much space on the front.
And it's sort of disjointed.
It's mostly blocked by something also. So it's hard to do a great great artwork on. The back is great actually, but it's not that fun painting the back.
Yeah. This is true. I want to move on to a couple of, now I know that you don't feel like, or you expressed to me that, I only sort of painted it and applied it, but you have these gold veneered Famicom. There's a GBA and a GBC. Now, as I've expressed to you several times and harassed you, I just take my money, please. The GBA, that thing is amazing. Like it's got this kind of like it's like you've done a Famicom. I'm going to get you going into detail if you feel you can. You've painted the GBA shell and applied this golden veneer, and it just has this kind of like 60s, 70s old radio look to it. It's just, I love it. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite consoles, and I still have it actually. It's the veneer is from Rose Colored Gaming, so I haven't done that. But they sold it with I think it was a transparent red shell,
right?
And sure, it's a great combo still, but I didn't think it was really the Famicom feel to it.
Not a true ode to the original console.
No. So I started looking at colors and finally found a metallic red Famicom red.
Yeah.
So as I work with motorcycles at day, only Game Boys at night, I went to my painter who helps us to paint the bikes.
Right.
And I asked him if he could mix the color.
Oh,
so it's a custom mixed color. And he loaded it into 2 spray cans for me, and that's where it started.
That's just pure gold. That is a super duper handy friend to have, huh?
Yeah, sometimes. So all credits to my painter.
Right. It just cost you a bunch of beer or something.
Yeah, something like that. I scratch his back and he scratch mine.
Nice. So you work with motorcycles by day? You're like a motorcycle mechanic?
Yeah. Not in that way. No, I plan the work and I do spare parts, a lot of customer service, insurance. So I run the shop, not do the mechanical work that much.
Right.
I do some electrical work as the other guys don't like it, but that's it.
Okay. Do you work with particular brands of motorcycle, or is this a fairly general motorcycle repair maintenance?
No, we have Kawasaki and Honda in house,
right.
but we also do some Suzuki and Yamaha.
Right. Very cool. Yeah. I mean, your earlier posts in Instagram, there's a lot of sort of bikes with, naked bikes of getting work done to them and some tanks and things like that. So I figured you.
Yeah, I've done some really cool bike builds, but it takes if the Game Boy hobby is expensive, the motorcycle hobby is like 1,000 times more expensive.
Yeah.
So I needed to tone down the builds and creative stuff. So I get my creativeness blown out in Game Boys instead of motorcycles.
It's a lot more affordable.
Yeah, but I have 2 custom-made motorcycles myself. So.
Wow. Are they for specific purposes? Like, do you tear up a runway as fast as you can, or are they just cruisers? Or
no, actually, my friends call me the anchor because I'm riding so slow, so they need to wait for me.
Just enjoying the view and the experience, and don't want to die.
Yeah, something like that. And when we're at the mechanical courses at Kawasaki and they present some new super sport bike and everyone wants to borrow it, the service chief there, he says like, then you can have it as much as it wants.
Yeah,
because then it won't break.
We know he's not going to ring it out and lay it over and be a clown. Yeah, that's so good. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. So
but much of my custom painting have come from painting. The bike part has been huge in growing my custom interest in painting. You can do helmets and bike tanks and
So the GBA, the veneer at it obviously sort of sticks on the front, and you can see it's slightly raised. It's what, maybe only a couple of mil thick, but it's not just like a paper sticker. There's a sort of rigidity
it's like
to it.
It's the black like the logos and text and everything. It's laser etched,
right?
And it's a metallic veneer, so it feels metallic when touching it.
It looks amazing.
And it's with the glossy metallic Famicom red. It makes a huge impression when you see it in real life, and especially in sunlight, it like glows. It's fantastic. It's a fantastic console.
It is. And you've got a GBC version, which I assume is a almost identical process. Color.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. I actually painted the GBC and the GBA at the same time. I did a few shells in the same spray.
Very nice, mate. Very nice indeed. Yeah. So, I mean, what are you sort of doing these days? Are you just sort of doing more commissions? And I mean, I sort of get the impression that you love to build, you love to mod, you do that. In order to do it, you move a few on to cover it. But do you actually, are there some that you're like, I'm building this for me and I'm going to collect it? Or are you happy just to kind of have the artistic flow and just everything will move on? Maybe not the Famicoms, but most things will eventually just be moved on.
Most things, but I get a few consoles and a few when I've traded some shells. They're special to me, so those I've collected. But I think I have like 8 or 9 consoles that I'm truly in love with and won't sell away. But the others I have a while and then they go away. And some are commissions from the beginning, and some I actually don't want to send away when they're finished because you fall in love with them. But that's the way it is. And somehow in the end, it's more fun for me for someone actually loving them and using them every day instead of being in a storage, or on the shelf home with me.
Yeah.
So I think it's more fun in seeing it that way, that someone actually loves them. And most of my Game Boys are beaten up old Game Boys, so it's somehow giving them a new life.
Yeah, absolutely.
From trash to a gem.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that $2 SP was, for example, was just sitting in someone's trash, and it got redone and played. And there's always that sort of discussion about, oh well, but by refurbishing them, you're not retaining the original. When I have a lot that I have got that are in good condition to save, but at the same point, I want to play. And at 48, and almost anybody, you can't play on the original screens. It's just not even a fifth as enjoyable. So you pick them up and
I actually don't understand how we did it when
Yeah.
we thought these were the best. Looking back today, I think it's crazy.
But we also used to play with sticks.
Yeah, I know.
So it was all relative, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's all relative.
We didn't have Minecraft and Fortnite, so this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Thank God. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I really do appreciate your sort of sharing, I guess, what makes you do what you do, because that's what this podcast is really about. There's a lot out there that's like, you need this and this and this, and there's heaps of YouTube videos, but I'm always interested in why someone does it. And I've met some people they're just straight up artists, and it's always, I enjoy the artists, I join the art, I do enjoy the consoles, and I really enjoy the community, and I sort of get that same vibe from yourself.
Yeah,
that's great.
It is like that, and actually I drop into strange hobbies sometimes. So if you look way back in my Instagram, you can see I did some rings.
Right.
So I've done some jewelry.
Right.
I tried airbrushing. I've done bracelets. Every kind of painting you can think of, I think.
Yeah.
So I like the creative part. I think that's the best thing.
Yeah.
And Game Boy somehow hooked me up because I think the electronic part with soldering and figuring out how to do things and LEDs and lights, that was interesting in another creative way. And you can combine it with the painting I like, and the result was cool.
That's awesome, mate. I just wish I had even just 5% of the motivation and talent that all you guys have, because but it's nice to have something that, like these Beskar shells they've got from Joseph are, that they sit right here, and I just freaking love them. And when they come from someone else, it's really great. And you guys have that blessing of being able to, like, you and Julianne can, trade artistic creations. Like it's a real maker thing. I think I listened to a bunch of podcasts and watch some stuff about makers, and a lot of that sort of cosplay and model making and stuff, and they're using printers and machines and foam work and stuff, and they'll often be like, someone will send a resin cast of Han Solo's pistol to someone, and the other guy will have a printed kind of half machined the pistol from Blade Runner. They're just swapping and sharing the art, and I'm incredibly envious of you guys have that secret life.
I think that's one of the most fun parts, and then looking at this community, it's kind of open to it. So I love that.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a shell from Joseph. He doesn't know it.
He doesn't know you have it.
No, I have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna
a secret trade?
You have it from him or for him?
No, it's from him, but not from him, and he doesn't know I have it.
Okay.
But it's coming. It's coming.
Okay. You're not going to share anymore.
You're
a man of mystery.
I'm gonna do a fun build with it. So
awesome. Okay.
It's actually Julianne from Game of 77 that hooked me up with it.
Oh man, she is your inside girl. She's all over your stuff.
Yeah, we've done a few things together. I think we have the same view in many creative parts on doing a Game Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And she's truly talented in combining colors. I think.
Yeah.
She's more she's a little more daring than I am.
Yep. I was just sort of flicking through there, looking at some of your builds. And this afternoon I've started printing if you can, it's a Chozo.
Yeah.
So I found a model on Thingiverse. It's in about 6 pieces. So this is the head. The head's about 2 inches long. So I'm like,
you need to paint it and show me when it's painted.
Yeah. I've seen it. It's not a great printer, so there'll be some lines. So, but yeah, it'll get that kind of grey stony thing and find a marble or something. But I'm like so close to the end of Samus Returns on 3DS. I went to bed last night at sort of 10-ish, and then my wife came to bed, and I was sort of laying there. And then in Samus Returns, there's a thing called the Diggernaut, this massive robot. And all week during my lunch break, jump in my car, and I couldn't do it. And last night I got up at 10 and I was here till 1 a.m, and I bloody nailed it. And I was like in my room where I'm sitting out my headphones on. I was like, yes, like as quiet as I could be. And now obviously because I was so pumped, I couldn't go to sleep for another 2 hours. So I actually can go to bed till like 3 a.m. or something. But
yeah, fantastic when your children comes and wakes you early.
Oh yeah, that is great. But with the latest announcement of the new Metroid game, as long as it turns up, it might be the reason I buy a Switch. I wanted to hold out till it was at least 15 years old, but I'm going to have to get in early. Otherwise, it'll be spoiled.
Yeah, I think I saw that game too, and actually, I think it's a great game. Maybe not that new thinking, but I love the 3DS version. I love the GBA versions like Fusion and Zero Missions. I think it's a great platform, and as long as they do new levels and some new ideas, I think it's a great game.
I sort of intentionally, like I tried to play the SNES like Super Metroid. I just, without maps and things, it's just hard work for me. I just don't have that much patience. So once I sort of worked out the timeline of like Zero Mission was the NES version remake, and then Samus Returns was the SNES remake, and all the maps, everything's there. It's just more achievable for me, and better save points and things like that. And so yeah, once I've done this, I'll be playing Fusion. But I don't know what's in Fusion, because like in that short trailer for Dread, she's running along, and then there's like a low bit where you have to turn a ball, and she just sort of does this like slide, like a soccer sort of slide under it, and they sort of climbing grappling hands and stuff, just little things, just some more tools. But like Samus needs more gadgets. Yes, she does.
Every game new gadgets, or it's not a new game, I think.
That's right.
But I actually like playing modern games more than retro games. I think it's more leveled. You have the saves. It's a whole new thinking of games. So many people probably gonna hate me saying it, but old games, they have a retro feel. I like them because they're the beginning of what we have today. But if I sit down and choose something to play, I probably play something more modern. I like the new Zelda games. It's incredibly great. I never liked the Game Boy versions that much, but I love the remake for the Nintendo Switch.
It's pretty gorgeous stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
so I'm Nintendo sometimes gets a lot of discussions for remaking old games, but I think as long as the remakes gives you a better version of the game,
improvements,
some graphics and maybe some save points and stuff like that, I think it's fun that your kids can enjoy a game that you had when you were
it's the same
young.
story.
Same story, but in a different tell.
I don't know if when you grew up, you watched like the original like whether you grew up reading like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and things like that, and then there was some very terrible animated movies about
Yeah,
the Hobbit.
I didn't read the books, but I saw some of the cartoons
Yeah,
and tries on it, and it was awful. Yeah,
yeah, and then
it was almost like the remakes of this of Star Wars when the Ewoks and
yeah,
stuff like that.
yeah.
I thought that was kind of awful too.
Yeah,
Charming in a way, but
you're talking about the
kind of
animated sort of
awful.
offsprings and stuff of the Ewoks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then and then we got Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit and stuff, and you're like, it's the same story,
That was fantastic.
just retold with today's technology. And I totally agree with you that like even like I've acquired some consoles over the last year or so, and the GameCube has a bunch of like it has like Twilight Princess, which I'm like, oh, I'll give it a go. And I played it on my Sonic. I played a bit on my CRT. I'm like, that's pretty damn good. And then I discovered there was a Wii version. I was like, that looks a bit better. And I recently got a Wii U because just sort of like it was there and I could get it. And they'll jailbreak that. And now I see the HD remaster version of Twilight Princess for Wii U, like in 1080. I'm like, okay. Now, this I can really, really, really enjoy. I can play any version for nostalgia or whatever type experience, but at the same time, I can play it in that gorgeous HD. So, yeah, agree.
Yeah, I love the Zelda GameCube games a lot. But as you said, for the Wii U, the remastered HD versions, I think that's better. Like Wind Waker, I loved Wind Waker. I actually got a GameCube when it was new, just to play Wind Waker.
Fair income.
The only game I played on the GameCube.
Oh, fair income. That's great.
Yeah.
Because I don't really quite have much knowledge of how it all went down. Did you play it through a CRT when you got a GameCube?
Yeah, it was a CRT TV.
Yeah,
I think I had at the moment a 28-inch Thomson or something like that.
Right, because I know like there was plasmas and stuff around at that time, but I wasn't sure sort of because I've tried to put my game. I mean, you can get HD, HDMI sort of mods and stuff for them, so I know it's doable, but at the same time, it's always interesting.
It's easier.
Yeah,
just to put it in your Wii U.
That's
some
right.
may hate it and some may say a lot of it, but I think sometimes it's easier to play a remastered versions instead of connecting old consoles to new HD flat screen HDMI converters and stuff like that. So I think especially for me that I don't have that much time playing. Then I like that, and I love the Switch also because it's portable. So I can take it to the couch or take it to bed or whatever.
On the bus to work, whatever.
Yeah, on the bus and still work and still play some.
Game changer. I think when I got the Wii U, because I see the Switch, and I think I get it. That's fine. But I'm like, but I got Game Boys, it's all fine. And I run EverDrives and things, so I still have a lot of choice. But then when I got the Wii U and I held the gamepad and I was like, I can do it there on the screen on the telly, or I can do it here on my couch. I'm like, I think I get it now. I understand the Switch. I would never buy
the Switch is actually from the Wii U, I think. The Wii U was never that great idea. It was a great idea, but
tethered to the console.
So I think the Wii U got lost because of that. But without the Wii U, I think you never had the Switch.
Yeah, I definitely refined
so I think it's a refined version, I think.
Yeah. So it could be on the cards. I said that to my daughter. I'm like, might be getting a Switch for Christian. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. I felt a little bit like I have so many other things I can do, but it might be time. It might be time for Samus.
Yeah.
Well, look, I generally always give my guests an opportunity to kind of shout out anybody. We've mentioned a few people that throughout the Julianne and Roadclub Gaming and Emma Fox and Nat the Nerd, but I always give the guests opportunity. Some people just sort of say, you know what, everybody's great. I always bring up someone that I like to highlight. Takazo Retoro, I think mate, I hope I've got that right. This guy is doing some pretty great builds. Only a sort of like a light on as far as actual posts and so on so far, but just a really good mix of builds and styles, and just really kind of, I think, really understanding the community and just really sort of diving in. A lot of good charity work, which is always commendable when someone uses their art to, bring benefit to others. There's one particular. There's a Pokemon purple with the Gengar on the cartridge. Like, I freaking love Gengar, so you got me there, buddy. And then I don't know, he's just sort of like, you don't know whether you should trust him or not, but he's all right. He's just trying to have fun. And then recently, he's put out this Cowboy Bebop, which is a really neat little build, and I really like it when sort of slightly under the radar IP gets brought up. Like, there's a lot of Pokemon in Game Boy in the game, and that's fine. But this is just a little bit off the beaten track, and it's a really great build. The way that his shell is kind of like speckled, so it looks just sort of like there's a big star field, but it's very dense star field. So I recommend anybody who's listening to go and check that out and check out his builds and give him a follow. And I'm sure you're going to find much more to enjoy. So that's mine. Do you have anybody you want to sort of mention?
Oh, I have so many, so I don't know where to start. But
throw them all down. This is what the community is about,
Yeah, we mentioned Game Boy 777. I love 8-bit aesthetics.
Yep.
He's done a few great consoles. I love his splatter effects. He did that very early in the Game Boy community.
Yeah.
I think best go into my Instagram account and check out who I'm following. I follow many brilliant artists. I love Natalie the Nerd doing her LED button kits. We have a lot of great vendors. I use a lot of Funny Playing screens. They create a lot of new fun work. Retro modding does a great work too. So I think it's too many to just pick a few and say who's great or not. I love so many artists in this Game Boy community. So if I haven't mentioned you, I'm sorry, but I love your work anyway.
It's a little unfair of me, but I just like to give people the opportunity, because some people really have, I guess, like especially over the last year or two, some people have sort of had really good friendships, and it's only ever been through sort of texting and messaging and just sort of, I guess.
And I have a lot of those too, and I think it's a great community, and I think that's why so many get hooked on it and stay here, because it's a lot of friendship. So many times it's not just building a console or something like that. You can stay up all night chatting about life or something else just because.
Yeah.
So
a lot of the dads seem to kind of clump together too. I noticed there's like, when I meet someone and they'll be like, oh, I'm a dad. And they're like, oh, this guy and this guy and this guy. And they'll be like 3 or 4, and they're all kind of like of that similar age. They've all sort of got, 3 to 5 year olds, and just sort of chipping out a little bit of their free time to just enjoy company whilst in lockdown or something bonkers,
Yeah, Game Boy modding is kind of me time.
Yeah.
The time when I get away from the family and just something I like and something for me to reload and recharge.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, Daniel, I really appreciate your time. I thank you so much for the Saturday morning. Sometimes it's a bit tricky, like we said, to chisel out a bit of time on your weekend. I'm going to continue to follow you and see the great builds you keep putting out, and I really want to highlight that sort of the sort of mutual support that you have with the community, other people's shells, and then you supplying other people with your shells and that sort of stuff.
And I hope if you have any questions or someone that's listening, send me a text.
Okay.
I love that with the community, that you can also help each other and share ideas. So don't be a stranger.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. All right, buddy. Well, I think we might we'll wrap it up there. So again, thanks so much for your time, and
thanks for having me.
No problems at all. It is truly the honor is mine, and I hope that anybody that's that knows you, like we've just said, and now hears your voice and can kind of appreciate that it's a real world out there. And sometimes I think it's easy to forget that it is a real world, and we just need to kind of enjoy the goodness and the positiveness and continue the community just being that good, positive place. So, buddy, you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'm sure we're going to be in touch because, you're a great guy, and I will definitely be in touch with you. Thank you, mate.
Yeah. Thanks, Carl. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Okay, buddy.